Everything inside is a fumbling, mumbling look. Can it coincide? So I'm stumbling, bumbling, took way too many rides, and I'm thinking I'm sinking. What's up, YouTube? It's YL the White Elephant here with another update about World of Warcraft. Today we're going to be looking at the return of the mobile auction house and a little bit of what's to come in Dragonflight, and alright, I'll touch on some of the news for Wrath of the Lich King for classic players. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone, go ahead and hit that like button and please subscribe to be sure you don't miss any new content, updates for World of Warcraft, or any of the other games I play on my channel. Alright, let's get into it. The first big update Blizzard announced on 8/11 was to reintroduce the mobile auction house feature in the WoW companion app. For those that don't know what the companion app is, it's a neat little feature you can put on your Android or iPhone where you can see updates, news releases, and even send your little dudes out on a mission from the mission tables. You can also complete those missions and collect rewards, which will end up in your character's inventory in-game. When I first came back to WoW during Shadowlands, I remember noticing that the companion app no longer had access to the auction house. And I remember thinking, oh man, that's kind of unfortunate. Blizzard developers thought the same thing, and they brought the app back with a few tweaks compared to the previous rendition. One of the biggest differences, just to rip that band-aid off, is you will not be able to actively post items for sale using the app for the time being. Items can still be purchased. You can still view listings, and the app will provide a great mobile solution to access the auction house when you need to get a few items real quick before logging in for a raid night. One of the big things WoW devs pointed out in their release was that they need to ensure stability in the new app. Historically, the auction house being available on mobile was kind of a source for abuse targeting, allowing people to ping the game server so many times when doing scans or sweeps or posting things for sale or buying things that it actually brought some latency and lag problems into the game, according to Blizzard. Blizzard hopes to implement this newer, cleaner UI for a casual and medium-heavy auction house user to have that mobile access primarily. Their intention, according to Blizzard, is to keep the hardcore traders in the game using existing auction house features and largely already enhancing that experience with existing add-ons. You can check the link below for some source content from Blizzard about the auction house. Additionally, we recently got some updates for Dragonflight, at least for those of us that aren't in the alpha yet. Anyways, some of the new level up dungeons will include the Ruby Life Pools, Brackenhide Hollow, the Nokhud Offensive, Uldaman Legacy of Tyr, and then we'll have some new max level dungeons. We'll get Neltharus, the Azure Vault, Halls of Infusion, and Algethar Academy. Note, some descriptions or information could still be in a developmental stage, so some of these things might change a little. Blizzard released a few awesome images of some of the new content as well to tease and tantalize us of the upcoming expansion. Here we see the Ruby Life Pools, one of the level up dungeons. We'll have some new bosses such as Meladrusa Chillworn, Kokia Blazehoof, and Kairaka and Urquhart Stormvane. I'm sure I said some of those wrong, so let me know in the comments below if you know a different way to phonetically say those names. Blizzard released a few notes about the bosses in their news release, so you can check a link in the description to read a little bit more about them. I will give you a heads up though, none of this stuff here really gives us a heads up to prepare for dungeoning or raids, so it's just a little bit of extra spoiler information for lore and to kind of give you an idea of what kind of bosses we're going to see. Next we'll see Neltharus, a max level dungeon which will have a few more bosses: Chargath, Bane of Scales, Forge Master Gorek, Magma Tusk, and Warlord Sarga. Similarly to the last dungeon, you can find a few brief notes about these bosses on the news release. Blizzard also gives us a preview of the Blackenhide Hollow leveling dungeon, which will be in the Azure Span Zone. The dungeon is home to a wild tribe of gnolls and will introduce us to the new bosses Hatclaw's Warband, Treemouth, Gutshot, and Deca Treearch Rathai. I feel like this one looks like it might be more of an event style dungeon than like a traditional cave kind of dungeon, but we'll see what that looks like when the expansion comes out. Next up we see a preview of the Azure Vault max level dungeon. This place putting off some serious Nexus vibes from the Wrath of the Lich King expansion from the way back when. See, I took a break from Wrath until Shadowlands, so when I first saw this, I actually had to kind of do a double take. Look how close this aesthetic is. Here we'll see a few new bosses such as Laymore, Azure Blade, Telash Greywing, and Umbri School. Again, I'm sure I said some of these wrong. Another preview of a leveling dungeon we'll get is this glimpse of No-Cud Offensive from the new zone, the Onaran Plains. This kind of sounds more like it's a storyline type of event that we've seen like in the Culling of Stratholme that classic players are about to see return to the Wrath of the Lich King. And in No-Cud Offensive, we'll see the new boss Granith, the Raging Tempest, Tira, and Maruk, and Balakar Khan. Next, we'll see a preview of Uldaman, Legacy of Tyr, which will be another leveling dungeon. Spoiler alert, here players will return to Uldaman at the insistence of Alexstrasza, who learns of a powerful device or disc that contains Tyr's memories. You'll face off against the Lost Dwarves Bromach, Sentinel, Talandras, Embryon, and Chrono Lord Dios to retrieve this valuable piece of Dragonflight story content in an attempt to restore the Dragonflight to their former glory. Last, we'll have two dungeons that are still marked as in development under the working titles of Halls of Illusion and Algathar Academy. A bit less is shown in the news release about these two, but we do have a list of boss tentatively, which for Halls of Illusion show as Watcher Iridius, the Gulping Goliath, Kajin the Unyielding, and Primal Tsunami. Algathar Academy gives us a list of a few other bosses: Veximus, Accidental Amalgamation, Croth, and Echo of Head Teacher Doragosa. But there really isn't anything else about this particular dungeon in the news release. We were also given several previews of the new Dragonflight zones here, the Onara Plains, and then Thaldraszus, along with a quick snapshot of the city of Valdraken, which is in the zone of Thaldraszus. And last, we have a little bit of classic news. I won't talk about that a lot because I probably honestly won't play the classic Wrath of the Lich King unless they add back in the looking for group functionality, because honestly, I did not enjoy standing in front of summoning stones for hours trying to find groups. That's just me. I understand some people think that looking for group or looking for raid can be a little toxic, and you're right, it can. Any game with random strangers who aren't friends yet can be a little toxic. That's why we have guilds though. I feel like if I'm gonna just casually play a game that I'm not gonna spend a lot of time in though, I kind of need that looking for raid functionality, so finding out that Wrath of the Lich King wasn't gonna have that was a bit of a turnoff for me. There are a couple of other things we notice, like flying is gonna be approached much the same way it was in retail. In a nutshell, it means you have to spend too much gold on the cold weather flying in order to fly at all in Northrend. You'll have to be 68 to do this, and you'll buy it from a special vendor in Delaran, Storm Peaks, or Sholazar Basin. At least you do only have to unlock this for your first character, and then after that you can spend again too much gold but buy yourself a Tome of Cold Weather Flying for each of your alts. Those will be account bound, so you can send them in the mail and unlock that flying so that your alts can have a flying leveling experience in the Northrend content. And that'll wrap up the most recent WoW news update from 8.11 on the re-release of the Auction House access on our mobile WoW companion app, which should be coming around the time of the 9.7 patch, and the upcoming Wrath of the Lich King re-release for classic players. Until next time, please don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and leave me a comment about what kind of videos and games you'd like to see more videos about. Thanks for watching. But in trouble I come to the phone. Got you in the zone, but you said I'd just leave you alone. Leave you all alone, but I gotta get in a tone. Gotta get in a tone. Maybe my chances are